And welcome to the program Perspectives this morning on Invicta 98.9, and we are going to be looking at the reopening of Nigerian brothers that were partially closed. After 16 months of closure of these brothers, 4 of them, the federal government on Wednesday 16th reopened 4 of them, and of course with a promise to reopen others before the end of the year. The brothers that have been reopened now are Semeboda in the southwest, Mfon Boda south-south, Ilela Boda in the northwest, and of course Meigatari also in the northwest. These are brothers that have been reopened now, and of course we saw, by video clips that we saw that went viral, we saw jubilation on the Nigerian side, and of course on the sides that were affected with this closure, the implications of opening these brothers, and of course what led to its closure in the first place. We also know that what we're getting from the customs service is that goods have been seized, smuggled goods, so to say, have been seized, vehicles, motorcycles, and of course products like fertilizers, and of course we know that rice too have all been, and they're running into billions of naira. But questions being asked would better on who are these smugglers? We hear of the billions that have been, by these goods that have been recovered. But again, one thing that most times we find not penciled down are the smugglers. Who are the ones behind all of these? But with the opening of the brothers, now what are we to expect? And of course, we will also look at what led to the closure. Talking to me by phone this morning, I have Yusuf Goje. He is the public affairs analyst, my guest this morning, and we'll be sharing on why these brothers were, were closed in the first instance, and of course, it's reopening now with assurance that the other brothers would be reopened. And listening to the Minister of Interior, Rauf Aregbesola, he had told Nigerians that, Nigerians are now set, with to know movement, to know about movement of people in and out of Nigeria. This will include Nigerians and non-Nigerians with what it has developed now, and it has developed the Migration Information Data Analysis System, MIDAS. Now this will, record or register those that are going in and out of Nigeria. A good one, one would say, but again, how effective this would be. My guest this morning, Yusuf Goje, a public affairs analyst. Yusuf Goje, good morning and glad to have you on the show.
Good morning, sir. Glad to be here.
Yes, I was just talking about, giving a background about the reopening of these brothers, and of course implications, on Nigeria's economy, and of course people. We also do know that we've had migration of foreigners into our shores, and of course some of these foreigners have come into Nigeria without the papers to show. And when we talk of light arms and of course ammunitions too, we hear these are smuggled into Nigeria, and of course looking at the Boko Haram the terrorist group that Nigerians are fighting against now, some of these light weapons or guns, come from this, through our borders. And of course, we also know too that firmer, harder clashes has also happened because of migration of cattle into Nigeria and all of that. So looking at it, just a background there. But your concerns here about the closure and reopening of the border 16 months after.
Thank you very much for having me once again. I think the closure and the opening of border is one that we should look at and evaluate critically. explain the background for some of the reasons why the federal government decided to close the borders. But the critical question is, one, have we increased local production over the past 16 months? Two, how many jobs has that generated within the period? And three, have we seen a decline in insecurity? Because I believe these are the two questions that the closure of the border seek to answer. One is looking at the local production. We must understand that, for example, a commodity like rice in Nigeria, we still produce not more than 3.7 metric tons of rice annually in this country, while our consumption level is about 7 million tons. So it means that without meeting that gap, we have not yet solved the problem of consumption. So where are we in terms of local production in rice, in terms of meeting that gap of almost about 2.3 million tons? Where is it coming from? Over the years, we have depended on importation to fill in that gap. So that is one question that the federal government needs to come out clearly and answer around the statistics. Where are we in terms of production? Then the issue of insecurity, you agree with me that within these 6 months, we have seen an increase in banditry, increase in kidnapping, increase in even communal clashes in some locations, and even the Boko Haram attacks have also been emboldened. So can we say that the closure of the border has addressed that area? Then around the job unemployment, we have seen the statistics from the National Bureau of Statistics that shows that our unemployment rate has increased. So it is in this light that we need to really evaluate the benefits of closing the border and opening it. And I must also say that we have also seen the effect in terms of inflation, general inflation, and particularly food inflation. Then also we have seen the partial impact it has also added to our gross domestic product, that GDP. For 2 consecutive quarters now we have been on the negative, and which has thrown us into recession. So border closure as a concept is a welcome idea for me, but it shouldn't be done just for doing sake. Reason being that we are a consumption-dependent economy, and for you to transit to a production economy, it takes a lot of time, and you have to invest in critical infrastructure that will reduce the cost of production. Because why should I buy local rice when it is almost competing with foreign rice around price, for example? So without reducing cost of production in Nigeria, it will still be cheaper for the average Nigerian to buy foreign goods than to buy made in Nigeria goods. Yes, we say that a lot of farming has been happening, but again, we should remember that insecurity has also affected farming activities all around the country and what have you. Then also, maybe we'll give COVID-19, the lockdown has also not helped matters in ensuring that we do not reap the benefits of the closure of borders. So I think what the federal government needs to do is to show that yes, within this period, this is the progress made in terms of local production. Yes, they've been throwing up statistics, some statistics, but again, many are saying they are not seeing it on ground because their household income has reduced drastically, inflation has increased, so a lot of people are not really directly feeling the benefits. Even industries that should be direct who are supposed to be direct beneficiaries are not really singing hooray, because again, based on what I highlighted earlier on the issue of cost of production, transportation, no electricity, constant electricity, you have to provide it for yourself. You know how our road networks are. You know that our train system is not also where it is supposed to be. So I think generally we wouldn't say that it's something we should really celebrate the closure, but thankfully the federal government has decided to open the borders. But even at that, we must ensure that it doesn't derail the focus that we must grow internally. We must focus our attention towards being a productive economy and not a consumption economy. Again, lastly, this is come out to tell us what agreements we have reached with our neighboring countries, because largely our neighboring countries have been the ones that have been the conduit pipe through which imported goods, many of which are substandard too, have come into Nigeria, and a lot of these neighboring countries have not upheld their own agreement of the ECOWAS protocol. So I think we need to also be clear on where are our neighbors, because the border closure reopening affects not just Nigeria, but the economy of West Africa. So we need to really see the federal government come to tell us that yes, this is the agreement we've gotten from, for example, Benin. You imagine that Benin, with a population of not more than 11 million people, would be having importing rice worth 20 million metric tons, and largely the target market is Nigeria. So it means that the solution goes beyond Nigeria. We need to get the commitment from our neighboring countries that yes, they would uphold the ECOWAS protocols.
Okay, one thing that is also coming out here is that the Controller General of the Customs Service, Hamid Ali, was quick to tell us in 2019 that there has been an increase in revenue from 4.7 billion to about 5.8 billion. Was quick to say that. And again, the President, General Muhammad Buhari, had said that our farmers are now smiling to the bank because their products are sold now due to the closure of the borders. Now, when you look at all of this, juxtaposing it with what is on ground, is that what should be a thing of joy, for Nigerian farmers, and of course the revenues that are generated here?
Yeah, I think it is good that we have generated revenue from the port, but should we really depend on the revenue we generate from the port, or should we build an economy that will be that robust enough that government can generate probably 100 times what we are generating in terms of revenue from the port? Because for us, even saying that we are depending on the port to generate that revenue, and we're celebrating, also says a lot on the kind of economy we run. For me, I think what we should be celebrating is export. Within this period, what is the level of our export? What revenue have we generated in terms of export, not in terms of import? Those are some of the things that really we should look out for. Yes, because we are in desperate need of money. Anywhere that money is coming in, we tend to celebrate it, which is good. But how sustainable is it? And how much have we generated compared to our revenue requirement as a nation? You know that even our budget is being likely driven by deficit, which we will go out to borrow loans to utilize to cover up those deficits. So it is until we look inward and ensure that cost of production, particularly, and also the enabling environment for businesses, including small businesses, where they could have easy access to financing, easy access to business development services, easy access to critical infrastructure, that is looking at electricity, roads, and others. that would ensure that, yes, our economy is robust enough to generate revenue for the government, to also generate employment, create wealth, and reduce poverty. But being that as it may, I don't think what the Controller General is talking about is actually sustainable. So now that the ban has been removed, so what? Are we going back to square one? So these are the critical questions that we need to see being answered. And the focus for me is the moment we are able to build the capacity of our economy to compete globally with most of the products being imported, we don't need to close our borders. Naturally, our production level would crowdsource, would actually, how will I put it, crowd the market, and there wouldn't even be space for importation of some of these things. For the importations to continue to thrive, it means there's a vacuum. So why don't we now work towards blocking that vacuum against the quick win kind of interventions that just ending up also hurting a lot of small businesses that over the years have been built around importation. If you would remember, when the ban on importation was announced, it caught a lot of the business people, both legitimate and illegitimate businesses, unaware, because a lot of people that import perishable goods, a lot of their goods were stuck in Cotonou and other places, and they lost huge money. And these are monies that coming into Nigeria. These are products that would have helped create jobs, put money in the hands of families, and what have you. So we need to really weigh on the scale to say, yes, what the government is parading as the success for closing the border and the impact on the larger society. We are approaching 200 million people. So how has that impacted directly on the lives of 2 million people? And we talked about we talked about unemployment. Unemployment is about 57% now. So where have the jobs been created? So when you look at poverty level is on the increase. When you look at insecurity, we are almost like the third based on the global index in terms of insecurity. So what are the real indicators that impact the average man that we use to really measure and say, yes, this makes sense? And for businesses, right companies that are saying, yes, they are selling, but go and ask them, what is the cost of production? And the reality is that they cannot compete with what is being imported. So our focus now is how do we create the enabling environment so that our local players that are running our industrialization process can be able to compete at a level that we don't need to even bother about the importation and what have you.
Well, again, Yusuf, I just bring you back home here about the textile industry in the country. These were industries that were really thriving in the 70s and 80s until they went moribund. And of course, so many calls have been made on how to revamp these textile industries with the number of people that it employs. But we've not gotten a way out of it to this moment. It also has been identified that we have about 1,400 illegal routes, and manning them, again, with corruption that we're fighting. I recall a representative from the northwest area of Katsina, where we have one of the borders, that come to say that in spite of the closure, that smugglers are still having a field day. Now, when you look at textile factories, because of course smuggled goods are in better stead than what we have back home here. If we are thinking about revamping the textile industry and all of that, what are we going to be looking at here?
Well, the issue of the textile industry is this. Over the years, we have seen that governments all over the world, not just in Nigeria, are not very good at managing or running businesses. So it is not an issue for the government to directly go and begin to revamp this textile.
I Again, Yusuf, quickly on that.
Yeah.
On that, Yusuf, quickly. Why are our businessmen, the moguls that we have in business, not venturing into the textile factories? What are some of the causes here?
Yes, that's the point I was heading to.
Okay.
Reason is very simple. Once the enabling environment is not there, nobody will put money, because the idea is for you to put money and get profit. That is the idea of going into business. It is largely profit. And any businessman, a real businessman, will not put his money where he thinks he is gambling. He will put his money where, yes, there are certain enabling environments. Do we have the right policies that will favor these businesses to thrive? Do we have the enabling environment around infrastructure that I talked about? For Invicta, you can testify how much you spend alone on diesel. So imagine if there was constant electricity. Invicta at least probably would have increased staff salaries. But you have to factor in cost of running generators and all that. So these are some of the challenges that we have, and we need to really look at the policies that are around textile industry, because one is, how viable are these textile industries? Not just about also opening them. And even if we revive these textiles, probably it might not be able to generate as much jobs as we are thinking, because globally industrialization is going digital. So there are certain manual labors that used to happen then that machines will have taken over. So the critical thing is that yes, we support the call that the textiles should be revamped, but unless and until the federal government, state government, and every other stakeholder that is in charge of creating the enabling environment does that, it won't happen. Because then, we had the train system that was connecting the textile industry to their market or to their export points. But now those trains are largely archaic or even totally non-functional. So it is an issue of the enabling environment. Once the enabling environment is there, government guarantees that private individuals can have access to credit to invest, and that their investment will be secure, because we have to also factor in security too. So people will not invest in the textile industry until that enabling environment is there. And also, Mr. Corruption is also there to ensure that does not happen. Because the closure of the textile for me is actually probably an elite conspiracy, because a lot of people believe that they make much more money through importation than through textile, and they connive both within and outside the system to see that they cripple our local industry so that their importation businesses will continue to thrive. And these things might surprise you, would have even international linkages, because those countries that are sending these products to Nigeria also know that they cannot withstand competition if we have industries in Nigeria that can produce the same standard and quality they are producing. So don't be surprised that the conspiracy is both local and international. So government must look critically and must also demonstrate political will, because without political will we cannot revive our textile industry, because there are vested interests. People that are making billions of naira out of the textiles not working. And those set of people will not sit back and see the government conveniently revive these textile industries that will push them out of business. So it means the political will must be there to ensure that there is no sabotage from this group of people that are presently benefiting from the state that we are, so that a lot of people can have jobs. The insecurity we are witnessing today is likely as a result of lack of jobs, and poverty level is getting high. People over the years have not been able to send their children to school because they couldn't afford to do that. and their children are now turning around to become a problem to the economy. So I think the government has a lot of role to play. Yes, if that is going to happen, very difficult decisions are going to be taken, even including like closing the border. But yes, for you to close the border, you must ensure that we have also done our own homework internally first, so that we don't come and close the border and take other harsh policy decisions, and it is the common man that ends up suffering from all of this. So the revival of the textile is doable, but the enabling environment must come first so that investors can feel safe to come and put their money. And you know, our population is growing. By 2050, we said there will be more than the United States of America. So it means the market is there. So all we need to do is to provide it at the right quality, at the right price, and at the convenience of the consumer. And before you know, our economy will be revamped, government will have more revenue, jobs will be available for a lot of people, and insecurity and other social vices will be on the decrease.
Yusuf Goje, we'll beg that we have to go for a commercial break. We'll be back with you after the break.
Yeah, all right.
Your station.
Thank you. Cause it's true, I'm not good at all.
Welcome back. It's the program Perspectives this morning on Invicta 98.9, and we're looking at reopening of the borders, implications, and how much that of the benefits that we're seeing now. My guest this morning, Yusuf Goje, by telephone. Yusuf, let me just again take you back. At the advent of return to democracy, President Olusegun Obasanjo had been going around the world on cancellation of debts, and also, to woo investors. And we saw some of them coming in, but the situation on the ground now is becoming so precarious that these investors are moving out of Nigeria and finding Ghana as a safe haven to do business. Multinationals have moved out of Nigeria, and I recall that Virgin Airline had complained about the corrupt situation in the country, and of course, why he cannot do his business in Nigeria, and so had to move out. Now, all these are challenges that we were seeing, and for this illegal 1,400 identified illegal routes, entry routes to Nigeria, how well are we seeing people that can man these illegal routes? And of course, they're talking about smuggling again. We know that Nigeria today is having a problem of drugs on our youths, or with our youths. Cocaine, heroin, and cannabis are all, smuggled into the country. And so, helping out, with what government has put in place, can this, help the situation that we're in? Because again, we talk about the investment on these borders. People are asking for more cameras, more of the drones to be seen, and of course personnel, incorruptible personnel to man these borders. How well this can take this take care of the situation that we have on our hands?
Yes, I think the major gap for us is not around what to do, knowing the solution to all the myriad of problems you've identified. The critical question is, do we have the quality of leadership that will drive and ensure that these solutions are delivered? That is very, very important. Since 1960, if you look at all the presidential speech, you find out that it has been the same issues that have been recycled, probably using different grammar or dictions. So it is about the quality of leadership we have, not just at the level of the president, but even at the level of his ministers, his heads of agencies, and what have you. So, and why leadership is important is You can't take Nigeria from where it is now to where we want it to be without a leader that is able to clarify a vision that everybody from the councillor or the lowest person at the local government level down to the federal can key into and address them, because the problem are multifaceted. It cannot be addressed by the president alone. It needs the collective effort of everybody, but he must be the one to set when the revelation in NGDC, in power plant and the ammunition and all these revelations where we are doing, they simply allow the president to go along. In fact, to me, honestly speaking, NGOs and NGOs are not doing enough. They are simply playing to the other side, because the president was left alone and now he is resting to look at Nigerians and let's see if that is the way out. Fine, the border has been open. Another trouble again. May God continue to serve in this country.
Right. Thank you, Musa Bala. Well, Yusuf Goje, you had the callers there, Comrade Gabriel, Francis, and Musa Bala. Your reaction here?
Well, I think the major issue for me is, and I have said it from the beginning, it's not the issue of whether you close or you open the border. Reason being that until we are able to build the local economy, ensure that the right infrastructure is available, people have access to credit, with their high level of security, closing or opening the border will make no difference to the ordinary businessman, because if you close the border, and as a young man, I cannot open an industry, because for me, just to power diesel, I would be spending 100,000 daily. For example, if it's large-scale production and so, where would I get that kind of money to do that kind of business? Which bank would provide that kind of credit facilities for me to do it? So it is not just the opening or closing the border in itself. It's not the solution we are looking for. The real solution we are looking for, and we ask question is, when will we begin to benefit from infrastructure development? When will we begin to see that there is policy stability, that we have stability even in our physical spending and whatever? So these are some of the really critical questions that we need to ask. As for the role of civil society that Mr. Mustafa made reference to in terms of fighting corruption, I think I don't need to take him very far. Just before 2015, during the Jonathan administration, even the present government left on the advocacy of civil societies against corruption, and that was what his party also leveraged on to campaigns and what have you. So, and I think that till now, the former governor has been one of the most criticized governors from the civil society. Now, I'm not talking from the political angle, and records are available. He should just go and Google. Google is available for him to see that civil societies are not only tackling the present government, but again, why is it an issue during this present government? Because also a lot was promised. And if people are not seeing that, then these people must talk. Nobody prays for any government to fail, but it is the responsibility of all citizens to always point to the government where they are doing wrong. And corruption is an issue in this country. Corruption probably is not only arresting of high-profile people, but also it is a systematic issue that goes down to the grassroots. So we can't say because we have arrested a few people and we are fighting corruption. No. So but the major thing for us is how do we get this economy working? And that is the paramount issue that all of us should be discussing, not whether we are criticizing or not, but how do we get this economy working? Because if the economy is working, this wouldn't be a discussion. And it is a discussion because there are issues. And we need to rally around all critical stakeholders to see that, yes, the borders have been opened. So the next critical question we ask is, so what are the steps that the federal government is outlining that the state government can key into, that the local government can key into, that we, a typical critical Nigeria can chip into to ensure that we are able to build our reputation as the giant of Africa that we were usually previously known to be. So these are the germane questions. We shouldn't be tilting towards partisanship or whatever, but to look at the economy critically, because if the economy does not know any political limits, we need to see the government really put out clear-cut policies that would ensure that me, as small as I am, I can carry my 10,000 and invest in the economy, and the enabling environment is there for me to grow that 10,000 naira to 100 million naira. That is the kind of economy young people like myself are asking for. I want an economy that I can be able to run a transport business, that I know that the roads are there for me, that I wouldn't be driving along probably Kaduna to Abuja road and I'll be kidnapped. And I have to sell all my properties. My relatives will have to sell their properties. We have to go and borrow just to bail me. So that's the kind of economy that we want to grow. So investors will continue to run away. People will continue to resort to crime and insecurity, that fosters insecurity, as long as the enabling environment is not there for them to run legitimate businesses. How many people can afford the price of a medium right now as we speak? There are a lot of people that will not be able to celebrate this Christmas because the money is not just there. It's still the food inflation is on the high side. So while some of us are comfortable, we should also factor in that you have close to 100 million Nigerians that are living in extreme poverty, that they do not even see up to 500 naira a day to spend, and they have families. So these are some of the issues that really we need to bring about. Yes, but thankfully, we hope that as the borders have been opened, we will see that the food inflation will go down. Because if food inflation does not go down, you know that a hungry man is an angry man, and we don't want this present security situation to get worse. We want it to get better so that we can build a nation that all of us will be proud of.
Yusuf Goje, I'd like to thank you for coming on the program with us this morning.
Yeah, thank you very much. My pleasure.
Thank you. And that has been the program Perspectives, where we looked at the reopening of borders, its implications, and of course, where we're moving to from there. And Yusuf Goje, public affairs analyst, sharing thoughts with us this morning. We'll come back with Perspectives tomorrow. I'd like to thank Dashin for connecting me with the people and Wisdom for putting us in the pictures. Good morning.